So today I thought we would focus mostly on balance. All right. So if you don't want to wear shoes today, you don't have to. Shoes or no shoes when it comes to balance, either way, does not matter. We're not normally in our bare feet, so it can be harder. So if you want a little bit more of a challenge, feel free. Take your shoes off. So when you're doing balance stuff, you actually have like your toes on the ground. But if you have like, cold floors, it's no big deal. You can definitely keep your shoes on your feet. Okay. But yeah, that's what I thought we'd focus on today is mostly balance, stretching to wake up those neuromuscular pathways and just general mobility stuff. So to warm up, we are going to use our chair. Just because we gotta start with the feet. Feet are the ones connecting to the ground, so they're really important for balance. So if you do have issues with big toe joint arthritis, a broken bone in the foot, something like that, you don't have to do full calf raises. This is not about balance yet. I just want mobility. So when you're facing that chair, both hands are on the chair, you're going to try to come up as high as possible off the floor and then come back down. So just to loosen that up. But like I said, if you have arthritis in the feet or something, full weight bearing on your toes right off the bat might be a little rough. So maybe just bend one knee, you keep the toes on the ground, heel comes off, and then you switch. So I'm not getting as much weight on my feet, but I'm definitely opening up those joints. All right. So whatever works best for you, just stay up nice and tall, shoulders are back and down. Nice deep inhale and exhale. Couple more seconds. And perfect. Just trying to shaking out the feet. Now what we're going to do is open the top of the feet, which might be a little different depending on if you have shoes or not. Essentially what I want is you're going to kick that right foot back. If you don't have shoes, your foot can collapse and you'll feel that stretch on the top of the foot. That's what you're looking for. If you have shoes on though, your toes are going to be on the ground and I want you to simply rock your heel side to side because the shoe will not allow any more curve in that foot. So if you have shoes, you're rocking side to side. If you don't have shoes, you're simply gently pressing down and you're going to get that feel at the top of the ankle. Okay. Now we're going to switch to the other side. So pretty big step back. It might be the top of the toes, the top of the foot. If you're in bare feet, just gently pushing down. If you have shoes on, the toes primarily will be on the ground and you're going to rock that heel side to side. The goal again, movement, mobility, range of motion. Just see what's going on there. And perfect. Just kind of kick the feet a little bit. Breathe in nice and deep. Now we're going to warm up the hips, but also do balance. Always, always when balance exercises, keep the chair beside you or wall, countertop, okay? Safety first. We're going to bring our knees up, high knees, but what I want you to do is nice and slow. So the goal here is at least 2 seconds of fighting to get your knee as high as possible and that pause so we warm up our balance, okay? Now, of course, if you need to use that chair, feel free. Try just a 2-finger touch on the chair if you need it so that you're not grabbing onto it and putting all your weight there, but your brain gets that signal that you have a little bit of support. Or just hover above the chair. Height, entirely up to your hips and knees, okay? So try to get as high as possible. But if your hips don't like that, knees can't bend that much, maybe you're just lifting off a little bit off the floor. Totally fine to do that. Okay. One more time on this side, one more time on the other side. Now we're going to do the opposite. Butt kicks. This one's a little bit different. Both of our hands are hovering on top of the chair or 2-finger touch. Try to hover though. Shoulders are back and down. This becomes more of a hamstring thing because we're slowing it down. So what I want you to do is when you kick back, toe points down and hold for those 2 seconds, then switch. So it's not the normal feel that stretch in your quad. This is feel that hamstring contract, especially as the toe points down. We can really isolate our glutes and our hamstring. And it's hopefully about 2 seconds, maybe a little bit longer. If you have to use that chair at any time, just tap down. But the goal is to just stay nice and tall. Don't let that hip bend. You want to keep that torso straight. Shoulders relaxed. Inhale and exhale. And then just let's try one more time on the right leg. One more time on the left leg. Perfect. Shaking out the legs, breathing nice and deep. Good, good, good. Okay, so again, with that chair, I want it beside us today instead of behind us because of the balance. So we're not going to go very far down. We're just going to do a little mini squat. Our feet are about hips distance apart, facing straight ahead. As always, we bend into the hips for that little mini squat. When we stand up, just lift the foot off about an inch off the ground. Then squat, other foot just about an inch off the ground. We're not looking for crazy height here because if you need to touch down at any time, definitely do so. And don't go down super low. As always, when we come up, squeeze those glutes. When the glutes and the core activate together, they contract that middle part, which is loosey-goosey most of the time. And that's what throws off our balance a lot. So when we contract, we have more sensors going to the brain to say, oh, this is where my butt is. This is where my abdominals are. So it can hold us a little bit better. With those glutes squeezed, when you come up, I want full hips straight. Try not to stay in this semi-bent position. Let's try one more time on the right, one more time on the left. Don't forget to breathe. And shake out those legs. Inhale and exhale. Good. Now what we're going to do, something a little bit different. Just make sure you have space around you. You're not going to knock anything off the walls. We're going to do the heel-toe stance. Now, I do want you to have your front heel touching your back toe. And that means that I'm very much on a tightrope kind of position. I'm not out like this. I'm right in front and behind each other. That chair is decently close. We're going to warm up the arms a little bit. Shoulders roll back and down. You're going to do nice big arm circles like we always do. But now we have that challenge of balance. So in this one, be very careful. We have squishy knees. Don't lock your knees. Really squeeze those glutes. And if you do have a shoulder injury, that arm might not come all the way up here. Okay, won't like that. So one arm might be normal, one arm might be out here, and that's okay. No sharp pain. Inhale and exhale. Couple more seconds. Look down. What foot do you have in front? Because now that one's going to be behind you. Find your balance first. Squishy knees, squeeze those glutes, lifting up the ribs, shoulders back and down. Now we're going to do bear hugs. Bear hugs. Generally, when we're doing these ones, start gentle, start nice and easy. And then as those arms are kind of swinging behind you, that's where they get the chest to stretch. If you reach in front, it should feel nice. But as the arms reach back, that's where you're going to get a little bit more of a feeling in the biceps and the chest, shoulder area. Don't forget to breathe. Inhale and exhale. And perfect. Those shoulders can roll back and down. Everybody's going to sit for these next ones. I'm going to take a little bit of break from standing. And I don't want you to worry about balance at all when we stretch out the neck. And this might make you a little dizzy because we're going to do all the ranges of motion with the neck. So it's nice to just sit in the chair. You sit up nice and tall, shoulders roll back and down. First, not a crazy big movement. Just gently tilt the head to the side. See what's going on in that neck today. Try and keep the shoulder relaxed. Big inhale and exhale. And then very, very gently tilting the head to the other side. Breathing through the belly if you can. Relaxing the shoulder, maybe just a little bit taller in the torso. Bring the head back up. Now, trying not to move the torso, just the chin. You're going to look up towards the ceiling, not a crazy bend in the neck, just enough to feel the stretch in the front of the throat. And then you want to tuck the chin in towards the chest. Breathing nice and deep. We're going to do this one more time, so I'll get you to lift the head up, leading with the chin. And then slowly, slowly tucking the chin in towards the chest, feeling that stretch in the shoulders and in the neck. Coming back to center. rolling the shoulders a couple times. And now we're going to do the shoulder check one. So this is 3 breaths. We're going to be here for a little bit. You sit up nice and tall on your inhale. On your exhale, just the head is going to look over your right shoulder. I want you to stay there. Inhale. And when you exhale, just turn the head a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale, maybe turn the head a little bit more. Maybe it won't go anymore. Just try to relax into that stretch. Just have to give it a little bit of time in this twist. Very, very gently coming back to center. Make sure you're not too dizzy. Sitting up nice and tall. And now we're going to look over to our left shoulder. Stay here. Inhale. Exhale, try and turn the head a little bit more. Inhale, exhale, try and bring those shoulders back a little bit as you turn a little bit more. Just see what's going on in the neck today. Slowly, slowly looking in front, and a couple shoulder circles just to loosen everything up. Feel free to have a little bit of water. Now I will get you to grab one weight for this next one. And if you're in bare feet like I am, be careful today. Don't drop the weight on your feet. Shoulders are back and down. Core is nice and active. So if you don't have a wall to follow, make sure you always have a chair in the middle of our little walking pace here, okay? Something that you can reach for. Safety, safety first. All I want you to do is we're going to do nice slow marches, but with one weight, it throws off our balance a little bit. Shoulders are back, core is active. You're going to lift that knee up nice and high, step forward, lift the other knee nice and high, step forward. And it's at least a second pause with that weight throwing you off, okay? So just keep going. I have to turn a few times here just because I have a very short length. But if you have a hallway you can walk down, that would be great. Then what I want you to do is continue, but now with the left hand has that weight, staying nice and tall, core and glutes are active, nice and slow, marching. Have control. The goal is the control, not height, okay? If you lift that knee nice and high, it is definitely harder. You don't have to do that, especially if you're a little unsure about your balance. Just hover right above the ground. You're just looking to not fall over. So if you have to have that leg a little lower, totally fine to do that. Now what we're going to do is add in a bicep curl. So we're going to bring that weight back to our right side, okay? Shoulders are back and down, core is active, okay? I want you to bicep curl with that right arm, then march forward, okay? Bicep curl as you march forward. It'll be whatever that body deems necessary for the rhythm you're going to find with that bicep curl. The slow march. My body definitely wants to do that bicep curl as I lift that knee into the air. Maybe you're a little bit off pace there. That's totally fine. Essentially, just do bicep curls and slow marches. Try not to fall over. Try not to throw yourself off balance. Okay, now we're going to switch sides. So that weight is in our left hand. Shoulders are back. You continue with the nice, slow marching as you do those bicep curls. Height is up to you. If you can lift the knee higher and you have the strength and the mobility, definitely do so. Keep that torso nice and tall. Just a few more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and perfect. Weight can come down. Definitely going to need your chair here. We're going to throw in just pure balance in between all these exercises. So first, of course, just normal tree pose. Because I'm going to stand on my right leg, that chair's on my right side because it's the left foot that's going to be off the ground. Maybe you kickstand. Kickstand means the toes on the ground, heels off, or you lift that foot to not on the knee joint, just below the knee joint. I don't care about the height of the foot. It's this knee. It's probably going to be here. So externally rotate as much as possible. When that happens, this hip will want to pop out. So this is where the glutes and the core get involved. Nice and tall, shoulders are back. Maybe you hover a hand above that chair or use the finger tap to do that. You can just have one hand in front to help balance, or prayer position. Now the prayer position, very much so, helps you stabilize because I want you to press as hard as you can, press those hands together. This is center, and it'll help that brain focus. Now the tricky part is, of course, with balance, that maybe you do need one hand on top of that chair. So breathe, find a spot about 6 feet in front of you, a spot that's not moving, and just stay focused on that spot. Squeezing the glutes, shoulders relax. Inhale and exhale. And now we're going to switch. So that right leg should feel quite fatigued. I want you to roll out that ankle, roll out that hip a little bit before we switch to the other side. That left foot, maybe this is the leg that you had knee surgery on, or this hip doesn't really externally rotate very well. So you're doing kickstand or lifting that foot up. Pull that knee outward. Watch the hip, don't let it pop out. You want to lift it up. Rib cage is up nice and high. It'll either look like this or bring those hands together. If you do bring the hands together, press them nice and hard into your heart center, focusing on that spot about 6 feet in front of you that does not move. Breathe. Bounce will come and go. So just refocus on those glutes. Try not to lock out the knee. Inhale and exhale. Make those neuromuscular pathways work today. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you come down, that left leg now should be quite fatigued. So I want you to really, really roll that ankle. Just breathe, breathe, breathe. Shake out the feet. Have a little bit of water. So again, if you don't have a wall, that chair will be in the middle of your walking path. I'm just going to move my chair out of the way so that you guys can see what I'm doing. We're going to grab both of our weights now. Shoulders are back and down. Now this one we're going to just try with weights first. See how stable you are. Okay, if you're struggling with this, don't go any more than this. Safety first when we're dealing with balance. Essentially what I want you to do is, if you have a grout line, great, or carpet line you can follow, pretend that there's a line, and you're going to do the heel toe walk, just holding those weights. Okay, they're just by your hips, shoulders are back. Just see what's going on today with your balance. Heel toe, keep that nice straight line. And it's always, always forward. Okay, I don't want to do any backwards right now. I just want you guys to keep moving forward. So if you hit a wall, turn around, keep moving forward with that heel toe walk. Perfect. Now we're going to add weights if you'd like. That felt a little not stable. Don't move the weights. However, now as you walk, what I want you to do is right arm shoulder press, left arm shoulder press, right arm shoulder press, left arm shoulder press. And it does not matter how you match the feet and that shoulder press. Just don't punch yourself in the face with the weight. That's all that I ask. And don't fall over, all right? So it might be opposite arms, it might be the same side, working at the same time. Does not matter. Just challenge that brain while you're doing this movement. If that gets too hard, don't lift the weights. Just continue with that heel toe walk. Got about 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and perfect. You can bring those weights down. Shaking out the arms. Breathe nice and deep. Perfect. All right. Now this one is a little bit more cardio. They're knee raises. So what I want you to do is have that chair on your right side. Okay. Not that we're going to be using it, but just in case, it's always nice. This one's a little different because your right foot is actually externally rotated a little bit. So that foot, instead of being straight ahead, is out just a little bit. And that's going to help that knee in this transition. The left leg is back behind you a tiny little bit. Arms are up. Don't worry, this becomes very natural very, very quickly. What I want you to do is knee raise, bring the knee up, bring the hand and knee together, and you'll naturally want to rock back so you can help with that balance. Always keep that chair handy. Try not to slam your knee into your chair. Okay, it's close, but not that close. Inhale and exhale. You should start feeling the shoulders. You should start feeling that hip a little bit, maybe a little bit of the glutes. I want you to stiffen up your abdominals as much as you can. 10 more seconds on this side. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and perfect. That chair is going on our other side, just so it's sort of out of the way. And you start in neutral, so our feet are facing straight. That left foot externally rotates a little bit because the right foot is behind us a little bit. And then arms are up. Bring the hands and the knee together. And then you'll just naturally want to step back a little bit. Stiffen up that core as much as you possibly can. The glute, if you try to contract it, will really only contract when you're down here. That's where it's straight and in extension. So it's happy to contract there. It will not do much for you when that knee is in front. Breathe deep. We have about 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and perfect. Shake out the limbs. Inhale and exhale. Good, good, good. We can keep the chair where it is. What I want you to do, have your shoulders back and down. We're going to stand on that left foot. And this one, just try not to have the hip pop out. We're going to be concentrating on this leg moving. So I just want you to, first and foremost, keep that hip nice and solid. Keep the core nice and solid. Shoes, no shoes, does not matter. You're going to lift the leg, tap that toe in front of you. Can't go very far. Tap that foot out to the side. So balance-wise, what you're looking for is hopefully not touch that foot to the ground when you come to center. Yes, it can tap on the ground out, and it can tap in front. Or if you need it, then yes, of course, when you come back to center, tap that foot down, okay? And anytime, if you need that chair, it's always there for you, but stay upright. This knee, don't lock it out, okay? It needs to stay a little squishy, and that glute should start feeling, that hip should start feeling quite fatigued. Out to the front, out to the side, one more time. Out to the front, out to the side. This left leg, roll, roll, roll out. That heel should feel like it's kind of tired for you. And now that chair moves to your other side. In neutral position, squishy knees, squeeze those glutes, stiffen up your core, shoulders are back. Then that left leg, tap the toe in front, and then tap off to the side. Try not to touch down when you come to center, but if you have to, that's totally fine. And of course, if you need that chair, feel free to do that. It's this glute, that right glute. Try not to have it pop out, because we can do that, right? It'll work and it'll be happy. What I want you to do is make it work harder to stay straight as we move that leg to the front and to the side. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. One more time to the front. One more time out to the side. And then again, just kind of roll, roll, roll out that ankle and that hip. Both feet on the ground. Just kind of wiggle the hips a little bit. You want these glute medials to loosen up. And then feel free to have a little bit of water. So once again, if you don't have a wall, chair is going to be in the middle, in front of you. For this next one, we're going to grab just one weight. Shoulders are back and down, feet facing straight ahead. So essentially with this one is just we're taking big steps to the side. We're taking a really long time to do so, okay? So with this weight, just keep it a little bit higher, about waist height, because that hip has to bend. Like we're gonna step over something really, really slowly and then come back to neutral. Step over something really, really, really slowly, come back to neutral. So I'm gonna give about 3 steps to my left and then change 3 steps with my right. Slow, slow, slow. Feel that transition of weight. And then I'm gonna go back onto my left side here. All about control. And I got 3 more on my other leg. Take your time. Maybe only get out 2, maybe get out 4. Everyone's gonna be different. And perfect. So if you felt that that was a little rough, just keep doing that. Don't worry about the weight. Now, if you want a little bit of a challenge, that weight comes up a little bit higher. All right. I want you to punch out, step, punch out, step, punch out. Don't punch yourself in the teeth. Okay. Enamel is not as strong as metal. So, you know, it's not, nobody needs to get their teeth changed today. Watch where that dumbbell is. Stay up nice and tall and stay in control. You don't want to be randomly flailing to the side and then trying to do a chest push. Everything is very, very much so with purpose, with control. I got 3 more on my other side here. Inhale and exhale. Perfect. Now we are going to keep that weight, but we're going to put it in our right hand. This one is an interesting one because we're going to do kickstand and we're going to switch our feet around. So essentially what I want you to do, everybody's going to do kickstand. Okay, this is the challenge is, you know, you can make it harder, but sometimes the danger zone is no reason to do that. So you're going to stand on your right leg, weights in your right hand. You're going to kickstand with that left foot, meaning your toe is on the ground, a little bit behind you, but you can definitely move that heel. It is, there's no weight on your left foot. It's just there for support, okay? So that's how I want you to start that stance. Zipper up the core, shoulders are back and down, arm is overhead, and we are going to do overhead tricep. Squishy knee. My toe is on the ground, but there's no weight there. Inhale and exhale. Couple more. And now, keep the weight in that hand. You can bring it down for a second. Now we're going to switch feet. So the left foot is now on the ground. Right toe is kickstanding. Zipper up those quads, shoulders are back, core is active. That same hand, the right hand, don't switch arms. We're going back to the overhead tricep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No weight on that back leg. Couple more. And good. Now the weight comes down. We're going to switch sides. Shake out the legs, shake out the feet, roll the shoulders back. We'll just do what we did on the other side. So because the weight is on our left arm, we are going to stand on our left leg, right toe on the ground. Can you wiggle it? That's a good test because we don't want to weight on it. All of our weight's on the left leg. Then you lift that weight up, bring it down and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, nice and tall. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now you can bring that arm down for just a little bit of a rest while we switch feet. The right leg goes down, left toe is on the floor behind us. Can you wiggle that heel? Hunker down into that knee, shoulders are back. Lift the weight back up. Come down with that bent elbow and up. 8, 7, 6. Can you move the heel? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the weight down, shake out the limbs, have a little bit of water. Okay, we're gonna do this one, and then we're gonna stretch out the hips a little bit and the knees before we move on. So this one, you gotta be careful. Mainly depends on the knee. Sometimes depends on the hip, but the hip is generally stronger. What you're looking for here is not crazy depth, just a challenge of balance. Standing on your right leg, facing the seat of your chair, core is active. Maybe it looks like this. The hips go back, the knee is bent, and that toe kind of taps behind you. You tap those fingertips up. I don't care about this depth, okay? What I care about is this. Standing tall with the hips straight. This is what I want you guys to fight for. So maybe you don't touch that foot down, but you definitely stand tall. Maybe you do touch that foot down and then stand tall. If you want to lock out that knee a tiny little bit, and what I mean by that is not bend too much into the knee, that's totally fine. Okay, especially if your knee isn't too happy with you, you can make that hip do the work. If you want just a little bit more strength, you do make that knee and hip work together because that's more like a squat position. At any time, come out of this, shake out that leg. It's a lot. We're standing on our one leg as we do this balance. So we got about 10 seconds left. If you want to break now, feel free. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. That right leg, shake it out. Should feel very, very fatigued. You can move that hip a little bit. Inhale and exhale. We're going to realign ourselves for the left side now. Maybe this is the side you had knee surgery, right? So this is the side that maybe you do tap that foot down, fingertips here. It's this stand tall that I'm looking for, okay? That foot can tap down here. That foot can tap here. If you want more of a challenge, don't let that foot come onto the ground at all, right? So it goes back behind us and you lift that knee up and you're bouncing on that left leg the whole time. So you choose, there's always that sweet spot, right? We want to challenge ourselves. We do have to deal with our arthritic knees and our hips. So if it's challenged out, okay, listen to that joint and then compensate and help it out a little. Don't want to make it too mad today. 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and good. Shake out that leg. Wiggle those hips a little bit. We're going to do calf stretch. I'm just going to lower my camera a tiny little bit here. If you have bare feet, calf stretch is not the nicest thing to do with bare feet, especially on hard ground. So if you have bare feet, what I want you to do is you're going to put your toe as high as you can for calf stretch, and then you're going to slide that foot down. Maybe it doesn't touch the floor all the way, and then you lean forward. Don't hurt yourself here. It's just a stretch in the toes. If you have shoes on, normal calf stretch. The toes as high as possible, knees straight, pushing that hip forward. But if you have bare feet, you'll quickly see it won't want to do that anyways. So you actually push, push, push. So now all my toes are on the wall, but the rest of my foot is on the ground. And then the knee is straight, then I lean forward if the toes will allow that. Breathe into that stretch. And now we switch. So maybe if you're in bare feet, just the toes go on the wall. You kind of push that foot down till it's just the toes. Maybe you lean forward. Maybe they cannot go that far forward. That's totally fine. Or if you have shoes on, it's just normal calf stretch. Pushing the hip forward, knees straight. Feeling that muscle release in the back of the leg. Inhale and exhale. And release. Shaking out the feet. I'll get you to sit in your chair. And we're going to do seated cross ankle stretch. So with the seated cross ankle stretch, you always want to flex that foot. So if you're in bare feet, make sure it's flexed regardless. Sit up nice and tall and then exhale, leaning forward. The goal with this one is always to get forward, forward, forward. You don't want to lean back, rock forward, lean back, rock forward. We need time under tension. So you always think forward, 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 especially on that exhale. Try not to collapse the back. If you collapse the back like this, it's a little rough on the lower spine. So just think heart is going upward and forward. Eyes are always to the ceiling. That'll help keep the back straight. And then we lean back. That'll release the knee so we can switch to the other side. Make sure you flex the foot. Sitting up nice and tall. Exhale, pushing forward. Now, generally speaking, we have a good side and a bad side. So if you always feel a little tighter on one side, that's perfectly normal. It's just because we are dominant on one side than the other, or we always have to get into the car, right, with our right leg first because the steering wheel is there. So just that alone really does cause muscle imbalances. So generally speaking, if you're feeling a little off, it's perfectly normal. Don't worry about it. We're going to lean back, bring that down. Now, we are going to use the chair for a little bit of balance and stability, or you can go down onto the ground, okay? So if you don't want to go down to the floor, don't worry about it. If you would like to stay up, we're going to need that chair for a little bit of bounce. So I'll just keep the chair here. If you want to come down to the ground, I do recommend, if your knees are willing, but they're not too happy to be on the floor, you can roll up your yoga mat a little bit so that you have extra cushioning on your kneecaps as you're kneeling on the ground, okay? Because what we're going to work is the slings of the body. We're going to do bird dog. With bird dog for both the chair and the floor, what you're looking for is that back leg. I am barely an inch off the ground. Okay, and that's the important part. When you extend the right arm and the left leg out, I want you to think there's like a laser shooting through your fingertips and shooting through your heel bone, through my spine. And if I lift that leg any higher, that beam goes up and I've lost my back. So you have to make sure core is active. Extension. Same thing with the chair. With the chair, knees are bent. That'll help. And then when you do extension, this is a little bit harder in the chair because, again, you'll want to lift up that leg. Don't do it. It's an inch off the ground. That's it. Extension. Hold for 5 seconds. Long, long time. Then switch. Right arm, left leg, or left arm, right leg. 5 seconds. Breathe. And then switch. So that's where that balance comes into play. And that's where we can really focus, once your arm and leg are in the air, on extension in the last 3 seconds. Then switch. Breathe. So what this is, you don't always just have to stand on one leg, right? This move, of course, nice to tap down a foot if you need it for balance at any time, but it's a core exercise. The core has to stabilize you. So you can extend one arm, extend one leg out. Let's try one more time on extension. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And then if you're using the chair, you might have to move back a little bit. Downward dog to stretch. If you're on the ground, wide stance to the knees, feet together. Child's pose. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Now, the ground and the chair are going to be a little bit different for this one. If you're on the ground, we're going to be in tabletop position, which is on your hands and knees. If this hurts, having flexed wrists, palms on the ground, you can make a loose fist. So I don't like to make a fist. I like to have my fingers loose so that I'm on my knuckles, but my fingers are released and my wrists are straight. So if your wrists hurt, feel free to do that. What we're going to do on the ground is you're going to tuck your toes underneath you. And this is 10 seconds if you can. Core is active. It's super, super small. Watch my knees here. I'm going to lift my knees off the ground this far. They're not on the ground. They look like it though. 10 seconds and then come back down. It is half an inch, if that. I don't want you to lift your butt like this, okay? I want you to be, there's barely any difference between the knees off the ground or on the ground. 10 seconds, then release, okay? If you're using the chair, we're just gonna lift one leg, okay? So again, you're in that tabletop position, knees are bent, core is nice and active. What I want you to do is you're gonna lift that leg and hold for 10 seconds. You'll start to feel that left glute have to hold you there. Don't let your hips move. Bring that right foot down, just a tiny little bit. That left leg is off the ground, just about half an inch. Breathe for 10 seconds. And then switch. At any time, you can go into child's pose or downward dog for a break. We got about 20 seconds left, so 10 seconds on each leg. If you need to at any time, pushing back into child's pose or pushing back into downward dog. Let's try for 5 more seconds, whatever position you might be in. 3, 2, and 1. Now we stretch. You might have to move those feet. Downward dog if you're using the chair. Breathe here, 5 breaths. If you're on the ground, wide stance the knees, child's pose. Breathe here, try and relax. Inhale and exhale. Good. Hands can come underneath if you're on the ground. Shoulders rolling back and down. Inhale and exhale. Now, if you're on the ground, really, really briefly, this is a lot for the knees and the hips. So essentially what I want you to do, if you're in the chair, just have some water. If you're on the ground, since we're here anyways, can you come back into this position? It might not look like this. It might look like this. Depends on your hips and your knees. So it might be here, here, or here. See what's going on with the feet. Then, leaning forward, tuck those toes underneath you. And then can you sit back, which might be very, very uncomfortable. So it might look like this, right? It might look like this, or you might be able to come back. And just about 5 seconds, okay? Especially if it's a lot, come forward and then come back. What we're doing here is just opening up the toes and the arch of the foot and the heels. So it can be a lot. If you are doing this position, I suggest you come forward, release the toes, and just kind of tap the top of your foot on the ground like this. Then making your way over to a chair or just getting that leg underneath you, coming on up off the ground, have a little bit of water. Shoulders roll back a few times just to loosen that up. We're going to do a little bit of slings of the body for balance. So that does require the arms. Then we're going to stretch that out first. So once you do a few shoulder circles, you're going to need a wall. What we're going to do first is the arm is going to be straight out. The hand and the head are going to be in line with each other. And then after about 10 to 20 seconds, we're going to release that shoulder and we're going to go up a little bit higher. So it's not right over my head like this. It's a little bit off angle, okay? So first start at head height. You're going to face the wall. Nose is touching the wall. Right hand is about head height. And then we're going to externally rotate out. So we're just going to stretch out the chest, breathing into this nice deep movement of the shoulder. We'll try to relax the shoulders, relax the head and the neck. We're going to rotate back toward the wall. You can shake out that arm if you want, but we're going to keep that right arm. That right arm is going to go up higher. Not all the way over my head, but definitely higher than it was before. And then careful here. When you go to twist away from your arm, it is a harder stretch. It's more difficult. So don't hurt yourself. You will not be able to move as far as you did initially. That's okay. Just breathe deep. Nice gentle stretch. The whole body rotates towards the wall, shaking out that arm. We're going to do the left side now. So at about head height, that palm is on the wall, nice and straight. We twist away from our arms. So because it's my left arm, I'm turning to my right, my feet and my hips and my torso. Just breathe as you stretch out the chest. Rotating towards the wall, feel free to shake it out if you need to. That arm goes up higher. Then I externally rotate. I will not get as much range of motion, but it'll definitely feel like a deeper stretch. So be careful here. Inhale and exhale. Lean into that stretch, into that wall. Rotating towards that arm, shaking out the limbs. Now for this one, if you want, you can absolutely use the wall. If you don't have a wall, it's a little odd. Just have the chair in front of you in case you need it, okay? So what we're doing, it's swimming if we're on the ground, but we're all standing now. So it's definitely balance before anything else. Watch your shoulders here. If you have to have a bent shoulder because your shoulder's injured, that's okay, all right? No sharp pain. What we're looking for here though, is if you have a wall, it's nice because you can put those arms right close to the wall, just like the bird dog. Opposite arm, opposite leg are going to extend back and hold for 3 seconds before you switch to the other side. Now, just like the chair, I'm not touching the wall, making that harder for myself, but if I need it, the wall is there. For the chair, again, you're just going to extend opposite arm, opposite leg back. And if you need to, you reach down, touch that chair, or put your foot down, all right? Just about 3 to 5 seconds. Switch. Opposite arm, opposite leg are going to extend back. It's not going to be very far. And then switch. Breathe. You'll start to feel your arms are a little numb because all the blood is rushing from your fingertips. That's okay. We only got one more time. One more time, the opposite arm, opposite leg. Breathe. And then bring those arms down, shake them out like limp spaghetti noodles. Get that blood back to those fingertips. Rolling the shoulders. Inhale and exhale. You can have that chair beside you. You can have the wall beside you. What we're going to do is have our eyes focus on our hands while we're balancing. Heel-toe stance. Okay, so we're back on that tightrope where my front foot and my back foot are touching, the heel and toe are touching. Always have something near you for balance and support. Shoulders are back and down. Squish your knees, squeeze those glutes. Point a finger up towards the ceiling. Your eyes are going to follow your hand. Your hand is going to lift up. Your eyes and head are going to follow up. Your eyes and your head are going to follow down. Focus on that finger. And when you're focusing on something moving in front of you as you're in that balanced position, it's quite hard for that brain to focus on staying still and also focusing on movement. So of course, that fingertip touch on the chair or having the wall beside you, feel free to use whatever you need. Should be a little weeble wobbly. That's all right. That's how we focus. Now I want you to look down at your feet. What foot is in front is now going to be behind you. Shoulders are back. Find that balance first and that stability. Squishing knees, squeezing those glutes. Shoulders are back and down. So we have that balance initially. Okay. Might not stay with us. And then that left finger is going to point up towards the ceiling. Eyes and head are going to tilt up. And then have those eyes follow that finger up and down, nice and slow. So those proprioceptors, you'll feel them in the feet, you'll feel them in the calves. They'll start to have that kind of wiggle wobble. And that's what they need to be like, oh, the pressure sensors in my foot, that's where my center is. And that's how we train our balance. That's how we make it stronger, is that it might be a little unstable, but that's how they learn. Let's try one more time with the arm going up and down. And then careful here, shaking out the limbs, shaking out the arms, rolling the shoulders, have a little bit of water. We're going to stretch out our shoulders a little bit. So standing, can you clasp your hands behind your hips? Maybe that's more than enough, okay? Or can you straighten your elbows. You might have to like roll your shoulders out of it a little bit so that you can straighten. Maybe that feels like your shoulders are going to dislocate and that's about it. Okay. Or if you're crazy double jointed like me, after that point, can you then lift away from you? Okay. Because they won't lift very high, they'll probably be about here, but then you'll feel that change. So if you can lift your arms a little bit up, a little bit down, very slowly, that's what I want you to do. If you can, if this is it and they feel like that's as far as they go, don't push it. All right. Just fiddle around with your own mobility here. Keep your chin tucked in a little bit. Inhale and exhale. If your arms are up, bring them to your butt. Once they're at your butt, everybody's going to bend their elbows. And then now you can shake out just to make sure we don't release and hurt something. Roll those shoulders a little bit. Inhale and exhale. Good. We're only going to do this with one hand. So sometimes if you have like a towel or a rope or something, you know, we can do this movement here. But what we're going to do is just the bottom part of that. So with your right hand, what I want you to do is I want you to bring it behind your back, like when you have to, I've never had it done, but I'm assuming this is the position when you get arrested. The handcuffs go behind your back. So this is the thing. I want your back of the hand touching your lower back. And then from here, how far can your mobility go? Can you lift that arm up a little bit more? And again, you're probably gonna have to move that shoulder a little bit to get that arm up here. So it's just this little bit of a wiggle movement to get that back of the hand up here. Now again, flexibility wise, probably pretty a lot to be up here. It might be here, that elbow might be out a little bit. Don't hurt yourself. Just see what's going on there. Okay, this movement. Then very gently, I just want you to slide that hand down wherever it is, down the butt. Then when it comes in front, now shake it out. Okay, we got to be careful with the shoulders. We want to stretch them out, but we don't want to just release them because they're not too happy doing that. Our left hand, pretend you're getting your hands put behind your back. And then from that position, wherever it is, the back of the hand is on your back. Can you slide up? Now there'll be a moment here that'll be a little strange. So that's where the shoulder might have to roll back a little bit, moving that elbow a little bit, moving that shoulder to have that move. Now, that movement, that stance, I'm definitely up against my back. I'm using my back as support to get my hand back there. Breathe, try not to lean forward. And then wherever this hand is, very, 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 very gently, keep the back of the hand touching your spine as you bring it around onto the butt. And then when it comes from the butt, then comes in front, shake out those arms. Your shoulders might feel a little weird, okay? And that's okay. It's good to have weird mobility so that we don't put it into a place we don't want it someday, and then we pull it. Now, last but not least, of course, you're gonna have on ground. Oh, hi, Kipo. she's definitely restless today. I don't know what her deal is, but she's up and down and up and down and up and down. Rolling the shoulders back and down. Tuck in the chin just a tiny little bit. Relaxing the shoulders, tilting the head to the side. Now, if you have issues with the neck, don't go any further than this. Okay, it'll just tell you sharp pain. Don't go any further than that. If your neck is fine, you want just a little bit more. Gently, you can place your head on the head, your hand on your head, and then slightly just get a little bit more of a pull. Don't reef on your neck or anything, but it just allows for it to relax. And the brain goes, oh, you're going to support me. Now I can release a little bit more. And it helps get a little bit more mobility. Hand releases off that head. Roll the shoulders. Maybe you just tilt the head to the side. That's totally fine and come out of it at any time you need to. Or that hand coming gently onto the top of the head and just a tiny little bit more movement through that stretch. Depending on what's going on in your neck, you can do a slight tilt of that chin coming down and then up, but don't pull too much on this. It's a very, very mild stretch. We don't want to mess with our neck too much here. If you do have your hand on your head, release the head first, then come on up. Shoulder circle, shoulder circle. Perfect. Well, thanks so much for joining me on this random day of the year that only pops up every now and then. But it is good because I'm not prepared for it to be March because I haven't even sent out the March email. So I was very happy. But today was an extra day. I needed it. Now, next week is March. We're here. So I will send out for all the March workouts. It's going to be great. We're going to keep on going through the March weather. And hopefully you guys can join me. Thank you so much for joining me for February. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.